McCoy, on behalf of PRSSA and Young Democrats, we welcome you to our Congressional Forum. This forum will feature Democratic candidate running for U.S. Congressman of the 1st District of Georgia, Mr. Brian Reese. Before we bring our guests up, I would like to introduce to you our 3 moderators for this evening. Ms. Sierra Walton, Mr. Richard Connor, and Mr. Darius Jones-Craven. Now we'll introduce our speakers. Mr. Brian Reese was born August 30th, 1971, to Mr. Benjamin Reese and Ms. Diane Reese. He is a 1998 political science alumni of Savannah State University. He has served as a mentor for at-risk boys. He also is the District 3 advocate for National Night Out. He's a minister, he's a father, he's a husband, and he's one of my men. Now I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Brian Reese.
Hello, how you doing? All right, everybody smile. Be comfortable, all right? I'm not gonna bite. I'm just a regular old guy, and I like to move a little bit so that, you know, I may come up and tap you on your shoulder if you go to sleep on me, all right? First off, I'm very honored. You guys have no idea how touched I am that you would have me here, and that you guys have really done a phenomenal job courting candidates to come and speak to you. And I'll tell you right now, you are worthy of the best to come up and show up on your behalf. And I'm hoping that every possible question that you could have, I'll give you a good answer. And if I don't know the answer, I won't lie to you. I'll say, hey, I don't know that answer. I'll find out, and I'll get back at you. All right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I graduated from Savannah State in 1998 with a degree in political science, a minor in sociology. I've always worked hard. I've worked since I was 15 years old. And I'm married to my high school sweetheart. Her name is Sandy Reese. Where's my wife? There she right. She's the love of my life, and I'm crazy about her. She graduated before I did from Savannah State. And we have 2 wonderful children. My daughter is Caitlin Elizabeth, 14, and I have a son, Benjamin Reese. He's 10 years old. And the things I want to really talk to you about is, you know, we're running a race as the first African American ever to be nominated for the 1st Congressional District. Now, I don't know if you understand. I don't think you understand how important that is and how important this race is. Now, it's not important because we're the first African American. It's important because we've now opened the door, and we're expecting more people to walk through this door after we have cracked it open or after we have knocked it down. But the main reason we're running this race, please quote me on this, and I hope your professors will test you on this. It is about you. It is about opportunity. It is about advancement. It is about you doing better than the generation before you. It is about you breaking down walls and barriers and glass ceilings. It is about you expanding your vision, your purpose, your direction, and not letting anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. It is about legislation. You do not understand this no matter how much I explain it to you today. And the reason I can say this with confidence is because when I was your age, I didn't understand it. But the legislation of today will be what affects your life when you get to be 43 years old like I am. And it is extremely important, extremely vital that you understand what legislation is being passed. And it's extremely important that you understand what you need to do to either stop it, help it, hinder it, or work with it. Extremely important that you know that. The civil rights movement is on the backs of young men and women your age. They are engaged, they are focused, and they are determined to carve out a better America. I'm going to say something to you that you may not agree with, but it's true. The civil rights movement is nowhere near over. It still continues to this day. But it is more leaning on economic empowerment. Listen to me, not economic disbursement. I want you to understand that. We're not talking about Robin Hood economics, where we give from the rich, take from the rich and give to the poor. That's not the economics we're talking about. We're talking about where everyone has an opportunity to live the American dream and play a part and be a participant in economic advancement. That is what it's about. And most people don't know this, but if you go back and study, I like to tell people to always at all times check me. If I'm wrong, I'm good with saying I'm wrong, and I'll fix whatever I said and say, look, I was wrong. But most of you know the I Have a Dream speech, am I correct? You know, everyone heard the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King? How many of you know that that original speech was not I Have a Dream? Anyone know that? The I Have a Dream speech was really a speech about economic empowerment for the African American in the civil rights movement. That's what its original intent was. And what happened was, someone said to Martin, tell him about the dream, and Martin told him about another speech that he had given the night before at a local church. And that was I Have a Dream speech. We have the capacity, hear me well, to grow the 1st Congressional District like never before. We have the infrastructure to do it. We have the manpower to do it. We have the educational systems to do it. But we need to make sure that it happens. And one of the economic engines to make sure that it happens is the Port of Savannah and the Port of Glenn County. Those ports are critical to the growth of the 1st Congressional District like none other. Matter of fact, they're important to the entire growth of Georgia. Right now, those port systems, they right now are contributing to over 300,000 jobs are attached to them in Georgia. Over 300,000 jobs can tie themselves back to the Port of Savannah, the Port of Glenn County. That's extremely important because we actually have the ability, hear me well, to increase that to over 900,000 jobs in Georgia. We have that ability. Now, I'm going to give you a little history about me in Savannah State. I was an average student. I only made the dean list once. The only reason I'm telling the truth is I know some people up here that can go look and verify. And the only time I made the dean list was somebody told me that I wasn't smart enough, and I made my decision up that I was going to make the dean list that one time. I didn't graduate summa cum laude. I graduated kuna matata. I graduated help me Lord. I wasn't a dumb student. I just was not as engaged as I should have been. But I was extremely grateful and humbled that I was able to make it through Savannah State University like my father did before I did. But I'm going to give you something that really blew my mind. You have a placement, a job placement department. I don't know what it's called now, like career development or something, that you can go to when you are a senior. Matter of fact, you can go to before you're a senior. And what they do is they go and they try to get you a job or get you an interview for a job as you exit Savannah State University. Anybody know about it? All right, what's it called? Say it one more time. Career Services. Career Services. And I don't know what it was called when I was there. But I'm going to give you something that happened to me. When I went to Career Services at that time in 1996, 97, so I'm getting ready to graduate, I applied for about 5 jobs. Now remember I told you I was an average student, right? Every job that I applied for, I got. I want that to sink in a little bit. Every job that I applied for, I received an offer to work for that company. Every last one. Now, I've been working office in Atlanta State. I'd already been working, matter of fact, I worked one full-time job and one part-time job. Most people don't know this, but I worked at UPS as a part-time employee while I was at Savannah State, and I worked as a full-time manager at a place called River Street Sweets, which is a candy company down on River Street. And I remember working really, really hard and very diligently while I was a full-time student at Savannah State. I remember there were times where I fell asleep many times in class. Not because I was bored, just because I was tired. The problem that you are facing is that you are paying a tremendous amount of money for one of the top-notch educations in the state of Georgia, and upon receiving your degree, you may not be employed. I don't know about you, but I had this discussion with someone a while back. When I went to Savannah State, we were on a quarter system. I paid $490 a quarter. I could work at McDonald's to go to Savannah State. Now, I know tuition is not $490 a semester here. Am I correct? Yeah. It far exceeds that, am I correct? So, the price for education has increased, but in that increase, the opportunity for employment has decreased. And that is your dilemma. Hear me well. That is your dilemma. There's no other dilemma that's bigger than that. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you can move back in with mama and daddy, but you're going to get tired of that. And at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than eating and having a place to live. So, my platform has several things. I'm going to give you 3 of the top. One is, we have to expand the economic opportunity within the First Congressional District. The next one is pay equity. And I'm talking about women in particular. Pay equity. Getting paid the same amount of money for the same job. And the next one is education. I don't think we'll get past those 3 tonight. Okay? Now, I'm good? Now, I'm going to stop there. And the reason I'm going to stop there is I told Kiana this, you're going to have a lot of questions. And I want you to ask me the toughest, hardest questions. Nothing's off limits. Ask me. All right? Ask me every conceivable question you possibly can. Use me up. All right? Because I want you to get an answer, and I want to be able to help you. All right?
Now it's time to hear from you, the audience, on issues we have to address, Mr. Barnes.
Hello there, Mr. Reese.
How you doing?
Question.
What's your name?
My name is Elijah West. I'm newly here to Savannah State from New Jersey. My question is about Georgia. You said lowering the GPA for Hope Scholarship. Exactly what is your plan for GPA? I never had an opportunity to take a Hope Scholarship. The GPA when it first started was a B+ average or a B average. And as what they've done is they've changed the SAT scores, the B average, and all of the other stuff, so that it became more difficult to actually get them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to high standards. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if those standards have been raised primarily to exclude people from getting access to those funds, you need to question it. Okay, and that's the issue. Because right now, you got people who have what the normal standards would be or requirements, and they're not getting it because of it. You understand what I mean? So I'm not saying look, you can be a C student, that's not what I mean. But you may want to check the standards. Okay? Thank you.
All right.
Hi.
Hello?
My name is Simone Robin. I'm a sophomore here, social work major. Oftentimes I get deferred about my major because they say you know, social workers get paid so little. But it's my passion. That's what I want to do, and I feel like social workers are definitely needed in today's world. However, the role that they have in society is very needed right now in today's world and what's going on. So, what's your view about that and us getting paid so little when we're needed?
But basically, you want to be a social worker with your life when they get paid.
Yeah.
Y'all got it, right? You broke it down. She want to be a social worker, but they don't get paid enough. Here's, I understand the difference. What you have to do is do that with your love. If you want to do it, do it. And God will provide other ways for funds. But I'm going to give you something that you may not have thought of. You might be the first woman to privatize social work and make it profitable. Think about this. You notice all of those addiction centers? Those addiction centers are extremely profitable. You can do what you love and make money. That help? Okay, next question.
How you doing, Mr. Reese? Elijah Jones, Mass Communication major. My question is more so to the agricultural department and the military. I saw in your flyer that those are two things that you're advocating for, but in what ways specifically are you looking to do that?
Okay. Let's go to agriculture first. The first congressional district, all of Georgia, the largest industry in Georgia is farming.
Yes.
Okay. How many of you know? Anybody ever had food stamps? Anybody? It's all right. Now, a lot of people consider food stamps what's called entitlement reform. Right? You ever heard that term, entitlement reform? That's a lot of my Republican counterparts will say, you know, we're giving money away to these people, and they just assume they should have it, and we shouldn't give it to them because they don't deserve it, right? Now, let's talk about farming and agriculture. How many of you know that there's subsidies, there's federal subsidies for farmers? We pay farmers to either farm a certain crop or not to farm a certain crop. Did you know that? I'm going to give you a number. Check me if I'm wrong. In the first congressional district, Jack Kings has been the congressman for 22 years. And in 22 years that Jack has been here, $156 million has gone to farm subsidies. Okay? The farm subsidies. I'm not opposed to farm subsidies. Okay? I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to a lot of subsidies, but I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit more about it in a few minutes. The problem with the $156 million is not that the first congressional district received it, was that 90% of the money of the $156 million went to 10% of the farmers. You see that? Yeah. So a small farmer did not have access to the same subsidies, and because he or she didn't have access to the same subsidies, they were not able to benefit financially the way the large farmers were able to benefit. Let's talk about subsidies for a minute, because it's going to be a hard. This is one of the things that Congress is fighting for all the time, and it concerns the African American and the middle class American and Americans in poverty like never before. Every subsidy has a return or a benefit, and it's measurable. It's a measurable outcome. And you need to be able to measure if this subsidy is actually benefiting the economy. We can show that it's benefiting people, but is it benefiting people and the economy? And that's one of the issues that we have in Washington. We spend money frivolously for little return. You should, listen, I'm a businessman. You should expect return on investment. You should expect it.
but you need to measure whether or not you get a return on investment. I hope that helps with agriculture a little bit, because I went to Alma, Georgia. You know what that is?
Yes, sir.
It's in Macon County.
Yep.
And when I went to Alma, Georgia, I told them what I told you. And the biggest question they had was, what are you going to do for farmers? Because they grow blueberries there. And when I explained to them that $156 million went to subsidies, but only 90% of that money went to 10% of the farmers, they understood. And then I said, do you know what you need to do to qualify for that subsidy? I said, you need to have at least 25 acres. But you would be better off if you and all your kin folks combined your farm into one so that you get a bigger chunk of that subsidy. And if you work as one unit, it may benefit the entire county more than you trying to work as an individual farmer. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, military. Every military base has a financial reward for every area that they're in. We have 4 military bases in the 1st Congressional District. Does anyone know them? You know, man, tell me.
I know two off the top of my head. There's Hunter, there's Fort Stewart. The other one is, I think it starts with a B.
No, for Benny, no. That's Columbus.
That's Augusta.
No, that's Augusta.
Kings Bay.
There you go. Got one more. You're probably not going to know this one. It's Moody Air Force Base in Valdosta. Okay. Now here's your question. You in the military?
No, I'm from Hinesville.
You're
Fort
from
Stewart.
Hinesville? Good. Every military base fuels the economy for surrounding counties, and sometimes is the only support for the economy. The largest employer in Hinesville is Fort Stewart.
Yep.
Right? Now, I say to say this. I have had the opportunity, Kings Bay. The only place that has not invited me, believe it or not, to talk to them are Hinesville, which I've been to Hinesville, Liberty, Fort Stewart has invited me to talk to them, and Hunter. But Camden County, where Kings Bay is, and Moody Air Force Base had me to come down and talk to the people there. And they explained to me the value of the base on the economy for the area. It's extremely vital. Now, you guys remember when the government shut down? You remember that? $26 billion. $26 billion lost to the economy. Right? Not in the 1st Congressional District, over the United States. But I told you this, that in the 1st Congressional District, you have 4 military bases. And you have to understand that millions of dollars were lost to the 1st Congressional District because we shut down the government, and a lot of people went on furlough, and that money, which fuels, see, money has to move, guys, but that money that fuels the economy was shut down. And because it was shut down, people literally, lights wouldn't get paid, couldn't pay for food, gas, whatever, shelter. That's what your military bases do. So the most important thing about a military base is that you keep it. When I went to Camden and I went to Moody, both of those military bases, okay, the airplanes at Moody Air Force Base are getting ready to be decommissioned. In other words, they're getting ready to get rid of them. So they're asking that when they get rid of them, that they bring in whatever new Air Force airplane they bring it to that base, because that plane has a direct result on the economy. In Kingsland, St. Mary's, there's 14, the United States has 14 nuclear class submarines. And 6 of them are in Camden County. The other 8 are in Seattle. Those nuclear submarines have a 40-year lifespan. They're getting ready to that's getting ready to come up. They're only going to build 12 brand new nuclear class submarines that have a longer lifespan. And Camden County said, whatever you do, Congressman Reese, you make sure we get 6 of those subs back here at our base. Each one of those subs, they were saying, contributed over $300,000 to the economy in Camden County. It was really more than that, right? So that's what a military base does, and it's extremely important that we keep them in our area. All right, next question. How much time we got?
30 minutes.
We good? All right, who got a question?
I had a brief follow-up of the question you just talked about.
Yes, sir.
With still being in the military, with civilian people who are like in those cities having jobs, and with there being major cutbacks in those civilian jobs.
Ladies, hold on 1 second. Come back, 1 second. I promise I'll let you go.
How do you feel that the federal government can get back to assisting those citizens who are in those cities with those military bases?
Say it one more time. I didn't hear you.
When it comes to civilians being cut, there are thousands of jobs that are being civilian jobs within those major cities, being Savannah and also in Fort Stewart, where thousands of jobs are being cut. Civilian jobs in those cities.
You're talking about civilian jobs that are attached to the military base?
Attached to the military base.
I know that's what you're talking about. You're talking about every base has a group. I give it a prime example. In Camden County, there's 8,000 on the submarine base. There's 8,000 employees, and over 3,000 of them are non-military personnel. They're cutting those jobs, and I'm going to be honest with you, that's going to be different because you have to be efficient whenever you do. And the military is one of the largest, if not the largest, financial cost for the United States. So we have to find other ways to solicit companies to come and support the military base so those people have access to jobs. Now, before you go, the reason I want you to go, there's a reason I want you to go. Did you get 8 to 10 people already? With your money? Okay, everyone get one of these. You want to do something? See the 2 girls right there was trying to run out? Hey, you want to make sure everybody gets one. Pass my name. Okay? Oh, we're getting ready to canvass, guys. All right? And what I want you to do, if you want to help, that's why I want you to go. If you want to help, canvass. You want to see what running for Congress is like on the ground, and you like to walk neighborhoods. Okay? All right? You have to take your cute shoes off, put your tennis shoes on. We would love for you to canvass with us on Saturday. So I'm going to give this to you, and please call the headquarters and say, I want to canvass. You know, can I do it for 3 or 4 hours or whatever? And there'll be some people that help you and take you out because you want to, listen to me, you want to experience this. See my beautiful wife up there? Stand up, baby. Baby. Wow, I lost my train of thought, girl. My wife went to canvass with my mother for President Barack Obama in Philadelphia.
Yes, North Carolina.
And in North Carolina, I couldn't let her go, anymore by herself. So I went to North Carolina with her. But you want that experience. You want it. I'm telling you, you want it. You want to touch people where they are. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. For my Republican friends, that's where they miss it. They want to buy your vote instead of earn your vote. And until you're willing to get in the trenches with people to see what's really going on, you won't be effective. Ladies, thank you for waiting. You can go.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Yes, sir.
Hi, Brian. Here's Gregory. I'd like to follow up to what you said about getting to know people where they are.
Yes, sir.
The good news for us is that you are a candidate like that. You're a candidate of the people. The bad news for you is that we don't have any money to give you for your campaign.
That's all right.
Your opponent didn't even come tonight. So he's basically saying, I don't need to be a candidate of the people because I'm going to have all the money I need. And that's a problem for our system. It's broken. And it's going to be a problem when you get to DC trying to negotiate with people that don't know anything about what the people really want. So how can we get the money out of politics so our representatives represent us? And how can you negotiate with people that have that feeling that
Money rules?
Yeah.
Let's take you for example real quick. We're extremely blessed to be where we are now. We don't have a whole lot of money. I mean, when we talk about what we have, as opposed to what my opponent has, you're talking about less than 100% of the funds. God, look where we are. We're within 4 days of winning an election. And we are a legitimate threat to win. And all we did was be honest with you. We didn't look at the money, and we didn't say that we couldn't be effective if we didn't have the money. We went on faith, we stretched out, we touched people, we told them what was going on, we engaged them, and now we're knocking at the door of victory. We're knocking at the door. The first thing is, don't let money stop you from doing what you know is right to do. The next thing is, don't be for sale. I'm going to go into a little more detail now. Politicians cannot be for sale. Now, I know I'm saying that as a novice because I've never been a politician. But I'm going to say this. When you are for sale, you are damaging more than just you. There's 700,000 people in every congressional seat. Every congressional district all over the country has exactly the same amount of people in it. How dare I put my personal ambition and political goals above you? Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, you are responsible to represent all 700,000 people. Let me say this. I have not said anything negative about my opponent, but I'm going to say this about any politician. If they will not show up now, they definitely will not show up when you need them later. If they're unwilling to talk to you today, understand me? When they need your vote, if they are not willing to come and sit with you and say, look here, even though we disagree, I'm here. They do not deserve the privilege to lead. And that is what we're up against. That's what you're up against. We have gone into Republican areas. Why? Because they asked us. We have gone into hostile areas. And we have campaigned right there in the midst of them. People who we know don't like us. But you know why? Because they asked us to come. And when we win, we represent them as well as everyone else that agrees with us. And you cannot be that person who will not have a conversation based on your feelings. You can't. In business, listen to me. In business, stand up, son, come here. I'm going to teach you a valuable lesson in business. Stand up next to me. In business, watch this in business. You are our consumer, all right? All of you represent a dollar amount that you bring to the table that we're trying to get. He and I are competitors, right? Buying for your dollars. each other. Give them mean. But that has nothing to do with the deal. So even though we don't like each other, we still come sit at the table because financially it's too lucrative for us not to find common ground so that we can do business. Business has nothing to do, let me say this. I got to preface this when I say this. Business, real business, has nothing to do whether or not you like it. Now, business is always based on relationships. And when I say that about relationships, those are good and bad relationships. You have to be able to have relationships with any and everyone to get the deal done. And that's why it's important that whether we don't like each other or not, we sit down and we look at the numbers and say, hey man, there's too much money at stake for us not to find some way to agree. You get my point? And that's how you cross the aisle, by the way. Republicans are losing out on billions, if not trillions of dollars, for not working with the Democrats. And the Democrats are losing out on billions and trillions of dollars for not working with the Republicans. And when you break it down to finance, this is a financial benefit for us to communicate and collaborate and move forward. Then people wake up. Shucks. Not only do they wake up, they begin to like each other. Thank you. Your man. But I'm going to preface one other thing. There's millions of dollars being poured into Georgia for the Michelle Nunn, Jason Carter, Purdue, and Deal campaign. Outside money. I heard a number in North Carolina that blew my mind. $100 million has been spent on the Senate campaign in North Carolina.
Is that both candidates?
Yes. $100 million. $100 million has been spent for a job that pays about $250. Tell the questions you got to ask, man. Them the hard questions. What is their motive for wanting to see? Because it's got to be more than $100 million. That's the question. It's got to be more than $100 million for them to spend that much money to grab a seat. They must be making billions. Now I'm not talking about corruption. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay? So, those are the questions you got to ask each other. Are they wanting to do that because they really want to serve people? My wife and I did something, and I told you how much I love the young lady because I said something in college. Any of y'all too young. Y'all know Modibo Kadali? Anybody heard that name before?
I know him.
Huh?
You know I know him.
You know him. Modibo Kadali's real name was Eddie Cooper.
That's right.
And he was my political science teacher. He's from Riceboro, Georgia. And he asked me a question when I was in Atlanta State, and he said, where do you see the civil rights movement going? And I said the civil rights movement is going to go from the civil rights movement to a civil feminist movement. I said the next great wave of equality is going to be driven by women. It's going to be a push for women. Because I saw how many women were in college. And I knew going forward that there was this glass ceiling these ladies were going to hit because they were going to be treated unfairly because they weren't men. So I knew at some point that women were going to get mad. And they were going to go after it. So my wife and I were in Brunswick, Georgia, and when we canvassed,
just seeing out on campus. And when we canvassed, when we went canvassing, they said, you can't canvass midday. Nobody's home. I said, in the projects, everybody home. So we went canvassing about 12, 15 in Brunswick, Georgia. And in Brunswick, there's about 12 projects, at least. Everybody's home. And this is going to be painful. But a lot of young black women and young white women went in the projects with babies, little education, and the most valuable commodity, ladies, were their bodies. I'm not saying they were prostitutes. I'm just telling you that you could tell. You didn't see past their feet. You couldn't see their minds. They were just as smart as any of you here. And I really, we went to one house and I remember knocking on the door because you're trying to touch as many people as possible. So me and my wife, we moved. And I got a bum leg and she got some bad knees and we still moved. and we knocked on the door and I gave her one of my cards, the little cards I had, and I said, I need your vote, blah, blah. And I got ready to turn, I saw the baby had snot and all kinds of stuff in, the other baby had snot and all that stuff there. And I got ready to turn, and God said, turn back around. Turned back around. He said, now pick that baby up. So I picked the baby up, and then my wife picked up the other snotty-nosed baby. And he said, now go in the house and talk to them. Like they're adults, like you really care about them, because you do. So we talked to them. And we explained to them the subsidies that they're actually living off of, they're in danger. And they're in danger because you're not going to vote. And the men and women who think that you shouldn't have these subsidies are going to try to take them away at some point in time. But I also explained to them that, you know what, I don't want you to live on these subsidies the rest of your life. Subsidies are not meant for you to live off the rest of your life, guys. Oh, I'm going to say it. Subsidies are not meant for you to live off for the rest of your life. They are meant to get you ahead so you can be self-sufficient. That's why they're there. Gotta go.
No, but real quick, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I'm Angela Wilson, Mass Communication Professor, also co-advisor of PRSSA, along with Mr. McMichael. He's on the camera back there. And we're so proud of our students, the Young Democrats of America, also PRSSA, for putting on a fabulous, professional, structured event. So will you guys give them a big hand? But I'm in professor mode, and I want all the students and everybody to remember 3 important points that he made about ethics. Don't be for sale, don't be negative, and what was the other? Because I wrote some notes. Oh, and show up for the people. So that was awesome. And again, thank you so much for being here. It has taught us a lot.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Look here. We got time.
And our organizer is going to close.
Hello everyone, my name is Christy Farrell and this
I'm Chris Sledge. On behalf of Young Democrats and PRSSA, we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
we are the presidents, and again, we thank you guys for coming out tonight. Mr. and Mrs. Reese, we thank you so much for coming out to Savannah State University. We really appreciate it.